If the 49ers don't make the Super Bowl, you have to eat an entire roll of sushi.
No.
What do you mean? You've been saying since day one, Niners, 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 Niners. There's not a bigger Niners guy around. Now all of a sudden you're not willing to bet. Oh, now you're not a Niners guy?
Well, I mean, to be fair, before I was saying Niners, Niners, I said Eagles, Eagles. So I got both.
Mark said I'm picking the
Mark's-
roll.
And Mark knows too. Manager Mark, he knows the kind of sushi I like. We've tried two together, and I'm not taking that bet. I'm not taking that bet.
That's fair. That's fair.
Those were the Trey Lance Niners that I was very confident in, not the Brock Purdy Niners. I thought there was a chance. I thought there was a chance Trey Lance was going to win MVP this year.
Yeah. Would you be mad at the Tom Brady Niners? How does that bode for you?
I mean, if you're going to get Tom Brady, why not get Aaron Rodgers?
Great point. Play the music, Alec. Play the music. Let's start this pod up. We got a lot of energy today. Ripping you told me I'm ready to rumble. I'm ready to rumble.
All Time with Luke Wilson. Episode 12, 13. Who's Alex? You got to help me out here, man. We're getting to the point where I'm forgetting the episode numbers. That's good. Episode 12. Episode 12. All Time with Luke Wilson. We got another guest today, Luke. We had a good chat with our friend David Sanchez. My green screen's giving me some issues here. I'm looking like Back to the Future. How you doing, Luke?
I'm doing good. I just got an email. I know, is Manager Mark still in here? There is an H-Wood party. Oh my, boy. Super Bowl party email. Now get me even more amped.
Oh, boy.
Oh, wow.
Arizona's going to be a time, eh?
This is the one to go to. This is the one. If there's one, oh my goodness. Anyways.
I've never seen you like this before. Yeah.
Bro, let me tell you something. Man. If you're ever in Los Angeles or you're ever in any big city and you go to an H-Wood property, Delilah, the nice guy, I don't even know the entire list. I think I'm not in the club scene, so I don't know what clubs they run. Manager Mark would know more. These guys know how to throw a party, man. They know how to throw a party. They know how to set an ambiance. They know how to run a restaurant. These guys are fucking goated. Jesus, I'm joking. But anyways, enough about H-Wood parties. Let's start to stack up. I'm all over the map. Davis Sanchez coming on. We had a great combo. With Davis.
Yeah. You two you two really hit it off there. I just kind of sat back and I was just like,
yeah, that's on me. I felt bad, but it's a very intriguing story, Davis, to me, because as we find out, and we'll have it here in a sec, it's just, I find it very fascinating for true Canadians in the NFL in their journey. And what I mean by true is, like, when I was a kid, I used to always see this shit. I brought this up to NFL Canada once, and it'd be like, oh, there's, I'm 15 years old, 14 years old. Be like, oh, there's 12 Canadians in the NFL. I'm like, oh shit, 12 Canadians, and then you look, and of the 12, 3 of them are kickers, punter, deep snapper, maybe more, and then it's like the next 4 or 5 were like the sons of CFL players that left the country as soon as their dad retired. So I'm like, yeah, they have Canadian citizenship, but they didn't actually like go to elementary school here, go to high school here. That's why I as a guy who's done it and have, as we've spoken about on here, some like twists and turns, it's very fascinating for me and something I'm really interested in hearing how other guys' journeys through the American football system coming straight out of Canada.
Yeah. So let's get right to that conversation. You're going to get to hear about Davis Sanchez making the switch from basketball to football at an age much later than I think you would expect. Get to hear about some of his time playing college and professional football. Chatted a little bit about the games at the end of the week, a couple of picks that he likes. So we're going to get to that conversation. And on the flip side, we're going to break down the 4 games coming up this weekend, get Luke's thoughts on all the games, get some picks, and we're just going to have a little chat. So let's get to that Davis Sanchez conversation.
Here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Davis Sanchez, a guy who's helped me out quite a bit, taking the rookie under his wing a little bit this year, show me the rope. Probably I think I just said that wrong. Probably the best dressed guy at TSN. Guy's got swag, which I got to call him out on something here in a sec. He was holding out on me on one thing. Okay. But Davis, appreciate you coming on the pod, man.
This should be good.
We had, as we spoke about in one of the prior pods, we had a commercial. Belly, tell me you think this is messed up, man. Tell me you think this is messed up. We did a Pepsi commercial. Davis, first off, this guy misses calling. He should have been in Hollywood. Fuck playing football. Okay. All of a sudden, Davis in here, and I'm like, damn, he's always had some good fits. Turns out he's got I don't know what you call it, but the lady that was there was like, yeah, I'm over it, like a stylist. I thought you were out here just finding shit online. No, Davis got the ace in his pocket, the ace in the hole. So whenever he needs some heat, he just goes right to the stylist and comes out just stunting on everybody. Is that true, bro? Is that how it goes?
Shout out to Edwin and Carrie and the crew. Yeah, no, yeah, man. What are you at Nordstrom Rack for your 6'5" stuff? What's going on?
Apparently, man, I gotta get on. You gotta put me on there. But
yeah, we got some folks. I mean, I pick around a little different, but yeah, it's the more importantly though, you showed up. Let's talk about this. You showed up with a team. Like I showed up just me myself, like diapers in the back and Similac and my kids. I walk in by myself carrying all my shit. You got like 6 handlers with you. You had a rider with you. You had the rider. You had
no
handlers.
question.
You had it all going on, but you didn't even bring
entourage.
2 suits. Yeah, entourage. But you showed up with 1 suit. We were supposed to bring 4. You brought 1. So
yeah, they didn't like that. But we live and we learn. So real quick, before we get into some of the more fun stuff, I kind of want to just go, for people who don't know, talk about a little bit about what kind of your high school experience, going into college as a Canadian, and then your time down with the Chargers and the CFL. I know it's very broad, but what I mean by that, like, when did you know you'd be playing, pro ball, if you will? That's a question I get all the time. When were you like, damn? Because I'm assuming your high school.
Yeah.
Sorry, Luke.
Davis, as Luke is trying to ask, why the switch from basketball to football after your first year of college? Why?
Yeah.
How did that happen? What led to that?
See these? I've said this 1,000 times. I'm 5'9", 10, and I can't shoot a jump shot. That's like I could get to the
not
hole.
A great combo for b-ball.
Yeah, not a great combo for making the NBA from Delta, British Columbia. I could get to the
you
rack.
Started as a b-ball guy.
I'm a b-ball guy my whole life. It really was. I was a soccer guy and a basketball guy, and I went to college my first year, and I kind of was crappy in school, and so I could have went to Canadian universities. I wasn't going to Duke, that's for damn sure, but I could have went to some Canadian schools. I had some offers to play basketball at some Canadian universities, but the grades to get into Canadian schools back then, I'm sure it's the same it is now, real difficult. So I went to a junior college, played basketball for a year, and then I don't know, I just didn't see much future. I kind of was not focused, and then I started playing junior football, which for the Langley Rams and out there in BC, and kind of at that point realized I realized the CFL was an option. That's kind of what happened. I realized, you know what, I'm not going to the NBA, but I'm athletic enough to play. I knew some guys who played in the CFL, and I kind of said, if I worked as hard as they do, I could probably pull it off. And that was kind of it, really. It was more, I had no choice. I had nothing else cooking, and so I better use my athletic talent and go get it. And at that point, I really dedicated myself, like diet, school, everything for the next 5 years.
I mean, this is a crazy story because you basically saying from Delta played b-ball. I'm assuming, like, did you play high school football?
I did not. No, we didn't have a team at my high school, so I didn't play high school.
Wild.
I did play when I was 15. I played in the community team 1 year with my bud. So I had played football before in high school, but it was for the community team.
And then how did you get down so you played junior football in BC. How did you end up at Oregon?
Yeah, completely unseen going to junior college. I went to junior college. People say, did you have a scholarship? Did you pay? I didn't have a scholarship. I didn't. It was worse than not paying. The coach had never even seen me play football. He was like, come on down. Like, you're paying your own way. I don't give a crap what you do. Come on. You're welcome to come. You'll be one of our 100 players. So I just basically walked on there. And there was something called the firefighters grant. So again, like I had nothing else going on. There was you could borrow $10,000 from the government to take this firefighter school at Butte College. It's where Aaron Rodgers went as well. You guys have probably heard of that from him. But yeah, anyway, yeah. So there's a bunch of Canadians there. There was probably 10 Canadians on my team, a bunch of cool cats. And I had a couple buddies that were already there. And they're like, man, this Chico, California is the party capital. It was one of the best schools in America for partying, and you're gonna give me a $10,000 student loan to go and be a firefighter, and I was like, I'm in. So I just took it, went down there, and same thing. Definitely wasn't a scholarship player. They didn't know my name, I don't think, when I got there. And
then from there, you ended up at Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, I had a good career there. I was an All-American, and I was a junior college All-American, and was got recruited and had some offers out of JUCO, and then I went to Oregon. Yeah. Yeah.
That's fucking tight, dude. What a wild story.
I have definitely
just grinding out of the mud, man.
Definitely an underwhelming career. I think I definitely had the weakest college career for someone who started games in the NFL. I definitely had the weakest college career. I don't think I had I definitely didn't have an interception. I didn't even start in college. I was a backup in college.
Okay, so now here's my next question. Sorry, Bellis. This is intriguing to me, man. I love the Canadian stories because I think all the Canadian guys have their own like crazy experience of how they ended up over there, And part of it's luck, at least for me. It's like part of it, right place, right time. But you broke your leg in college. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I was basically in Oregon for 6 weeks, basically, yeah.
And you broke your leg and still made it to the league. Like, why I'm so fascinated, why I'm so fascinated, I'm asking all these questions is because as a guy who's been there, some of these, like all these things that I'm saying about Davis should be the kiss of death of not getting to the NFL. But somehow my guy has been able to fucking bulldoze his way through all of this shit and still scrap it out. So that's why I'm very intrigued, man. So you show up at Oregon, break your leg, you said. And then, was it a pro day? Was it like JUCO, or did you have to go to a bunch of like tryout balls? Like, how did it work from there?
Thank God for the ratio, because if there wasn't a Canadian ratio, I had no chance. So I played 5 games at Oregon, maybe 6 games in my junior. I was a junior college transfer, so I played the first 6 games my junior year, and I shattered my ankle. I was out for a year and a half, missed the whole rest of that season, my whole senior season. And then I applied for a medical hardship to get an extra senior season. And they denied me. Yeah, okay. I declined that. And so just like I said, if I was a guy has 0 stats in college, you're not going to the CFL no matter what you're doing. But because I definitely wasn't going to NFL, but because I was Canadian, I fit in the CFL draft for Canadians, and I went to the combine and ripped it up because I played in the Pac-10, and so I was having my way with some of the CIS receivers. I was probably doing pretty well against those guys, and that was kind of it. Yeah.
Did you find that at that point the Pac-10 was probably, I don't know if you disagree or agree with this, but the Pac-10 is probably the closest style of football to the CFL? Because I feel like the Pac-10, it's weird because now it's called the Pac-12, is always loaded with athletes, but it's a little more spread out compared to like the Big Ten, where you get your kind of like big hogs, you get your Wisconsin O-lineman type shit. Is that fair?
Yeah. I think back then it was your guys like what's his name was there, like R.J. Soward and what's little Morton, Chad Morton was there at USC. You were with him.
That's my guy.
Yeah.
He was pretty good in college, huh?
Yeah, he was a stud. Yeah. So
great dude.
Yeah, a bunch of West Coast guys and speed, and you definitely. People have lots to say about the Pac-10 and 12 versus, the Big 12 and the Big 10 and the SEC. But yeah, definitely a different style of game for sure.
Okay. I know we got some limited time. Belly's got a couple questions for you. I got one more football question, then we'll get into the fun stuff. This is all for me, man. I just love talking about this. Sorry, Luke. What do you got?
No, so
I got one
I'm
more
curious,
football
right?
question.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
You
go
spent
ahead,
a couple
go ahead.
years in the CFL. The Chargers then come calling. You end up with them for a couple years. What was the biggest difference, CFL to NFL? Because to me, my mind immediately would go to like travel.
Yeah.
But was there any like particular moments you're like, whoa, like this is different?
I'm definitely not. I'll tell you another quick story here. I'm definitely not painting a picture of greatness here. Because this is going to sound even worse. I actually, even coming out of the CFL, I broke my wrist after my rookie year in the CFL when I was getting NFL looks. I broke my wrist and I had a lot of interceptions. I led the league in interceptions, and I knew I was going to get a shot. And then I broke my wrist. I think the Eastern Final. And fortunately for me, because I broke my wrist, when you have that window to go try out for teams, I couldn't run 40. So teams that want you to come and train and run, I couldn't run. So I'm 5'9". I legit run a 4.6. Like I'm slow. So I had to go run. So I would have had to go run for the Chargers, and I was going to the Colts and to the Redskins at the time. I get canceled for saying that. At the time, the Washington Redskins, now the Washington football team. So if I go run, if I don't have a cast on my hand and I run, I'm going to run high 4.6, mid 4.6, and at 5'9", no NFL team signing me. But if you film, I can cover my little ass off because I'm quick and I'm good with angles and I got good ball skills, so I can cover. But I need to get to the field first. So fortunately, I couldn't work out for the Chargers because I had a cast on my wrist. And AJ Smith, the GM at the time, he basically was like, "Look, we don't need to see. We've seen enough film. We don't need to see this guy run. We know he can cover. We know he can run with professional receivers." They signed me. Once I got to camp, I didn't stick out. I can cover, so I was fine in camp because I can hold my own. But if I would have had to run, I'd have been in big trouble because I'm slow as shit and I'm small.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Now,
it's definitely strange. Talk about luck. That's part of the luck thing again.
That's why we talk about putting out good tape.
Yeah.
Here's another thing, Davis, and this one is specifically.
You might be faster.
We get in a lot of debates.
You might be faster. You're 6.
I don't know.
6'7", and 2'7". Complete opposite of the spectrum. The high end of athletic talent and size versus the low end of athletic talent and size. You're probably faster than me, 100 pounds more than me.
Linearly, I was always pretty good, but you just said like you were good, very quick, covering dudes. Where like my weakest spot, I felt like was, when I couldn't just be upright running. I could still move a bit, but I'm like, damn, dude, if I could ever get like a little quickness, I might be the complete package. But excuse me, I was more of a straight line guy. What would you say the difference was locker room wise, if there was any, between the CFL and the NFL? Like, was it the atmosphere that much drastically different, or was it still pretty similar, like both? That's something, and I'm hoping that you take a dump on the CFL because we get into it all the time, and producer Alec, this guy he loves the CFL. He loves it, and I just love hating on it to piss him off. So I'm just gonna put that ball on the tee for you.
What we could save this for like another time. We can talk NFL versus CFL in conversation because I love this conversation. I think I'm the perfect person to advocate for it because I'm a strong. I love the CFL also, but I'm also aware enough not to compare the two. Like the NFL is the best league in the world, and because the field is bigger and there's 3 downs, you can't say the league is better because of that. And I find
different game. Agreed.
It's a different game, and I find for Canadians too, Canadians are messed. We have this, especially Toronto and Vancouver people. We have this like inferiority complex. It's like what's it called? The Toronto FC is the 15th best soccer league in the world. Probably not 15, probably better than that, but whatever. They're down there.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, Toronto FC is great. It's like the CFL is the second best football league in the world. Like,
Facts.
embrace it.
Yes.
Embrace it for what it is. don't try to compare it to the NFL because there's no flipping comparison. NFL is the best
That's a great
league in
point.
the world in any sport. Forget about football. The NFL is king of everything, at least in my opinion, and viewers will say the same thing. But that's my thing. And I would say the locker room question, to answer it, is it's very different. And the big thing is because in the NFL, I shut my mouth. Like I'm a big mouth guy. I talk a lot. In the NFL, I didn't say shit. I basically was in there for my 2 years. I was in there. I didn't talk a hell of a lot. And you're protecting your check, right? Like you're protecting the bag, as the kids say. Like, so I think it's a lot different. There's a lot of fighting in the CFL locker room or arguing and people chattering because NFL, you know that you get in there, you kind of stay in your lane. You don't want to mess up, financial freedom for you and your family the rest of your life. So everyone kind of just stays in their lane. When the practice is over, you go home,
Yeah, interesting. All right, enough football chat. Luke Bellis, ask him about the WSOP, man. I need to know, man. This is a Luke Bellis special right here.
So yeah, this was the news that we dropped on Luke right before the interview. So you retired from the CFL. Let me know if I got this correctly. And then 3 weeks later, you were in Vegas at the World Series of Poker.
Probably around then, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact dates,
Dude,
but
that's fucking. Why don't you tell me this shit, man?
Yeah, I had this like weird look. Let's say this first. I'm a losing poker player. Like I lost hundreds of thousands. Like I played big stakes poker and played a lot. And it took me a few years after I just kept dumping off money, realized, okay, you're not good at this. Like, give it up. So, but I didn't want to get a job and work, and I always liked to gamble. So I thought I have good instincts, like in life and in football, and instincts. I'm pretty good at that. And so I thought I could use my instincts and be good at poker, but I have no patience and I'm terrible at math and I'm a psycho, like check raise, bluff all my chips away. So yeah, poker wasn't great for me, but you're right, Luke. I took a run at it for sure.
And how'd that go?
I just told you, not too damn good.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I lost a couple $100,000. You want to keep talking about it, asshole?
Yeah, I was like, next. We didn't. That's not what we knew. We didn't know that. We were hoping to be like, yeah, man, went down there, left football, beat a bunch of poker players' asses. That's on us, man. We didn't know. No, I was pretty amped to just hear that.
Not my best follow-up question, I will admit.
I'm just teasing. I keep it. I'm just joking. It wasn't like life changing. I keep it 100. Yeah. Good.
I know we're the clock's ticking here. So then, when did you get into the side of sport gambling, specifically with football? And do you think that we're going to crack FanDuel for the Super Bowl this year? I think we need to do a Super Bowl like a hard one. I know everybody hates this, but I feel like you will ride with us.
Oh yeah,
like
I think.
Are you interested in putting to like a 7-leg parlay with some alt lines, but not alt low, like alt up? So get some of that plus money. That'll be somewhere around 80 to 90 to 1 for the Super Bowl. I mean, we got 2 weeks to crunch it. We got 2 weeks.
Yeah. So you're talking about a Super Bowl parlay, like a massive
Super Bowl parlay. Okay. We're gonna watch all these playoffs. I'm deep right now. I watch every game with the magnifying glass out last week. I'm fucking locked, man. I'm gonna be reading all sorts of shit, and we have 2 weeks to put it together. 2 weeks. I'm talking like boom. This cat's going to get in, or like so-and-so, his line is 30, but he's going to get 60. Let's take that. Boom. I know we can't do defensive stuff, but basically I feel like I started the year off with FanDuel and I hit him with a couple of haymakers. That's how I felt. And I'm like, man, I was really feeling myself. And now all of a sudden I've just gotten fucking slapped, Davis. I've been getting slapped. I landed a few light jabs. That's all. Just a couple light jabs. And then I've just been eating punches on the fucking chin. However, we're like Rocky over here, man. You know what I'm saying? We got up. I don't even know what Rocky movie it is, but we got to knock them out in the final fucking round. We're down the rounds right now. We're in round 15, and we're probably down
Let's go.
12 to, let's call it 12 to 2. But we get a KO on the 15th, it counts. FanDuel, that's the timer I set.
There's the timer.
When we're done with them, FanDuel will be eating out of soup kitchen. All right, let's go get their ass.
Let's go.
We had a good talk this afternoon, kind of putting like what you do well and I do well and what Luke does well, and kind of like put it together. And like I see there's some shit there for sure. I like it. Let me throw something at you guys here. This is something I really like, and I saw it earlier, and we'll see if FanDuel offers it, but I did see it somewhere online. I love this. I'm jamming it in right now. Eagles and Chiefs in the Super Bowl plus 450. Like,
how is that
look,
plus 450?
It's plus 450 right now to meet in the Super Bowl. Like, the Chiefs are going to smack Jacksonville, so it's really going to be.
Yes, they are.
I'm fully confident in that. So we're confident in that. Are we confident that the Eagles smack the Giants?
Yes,
I'm pretty
100%.
confident
I can go deep into that one. Yes.
Right. So those two, we can basically, nothing's a lock. We can walk through those two, feel pretty good. Then it's just, can the Chiefs beat the Bills or the Bengals? And can the Eagles at home? I mean, obviously that's a neutral game, but at home, I like the Eagles over the Niners. I'm in love with the Niners right now, but at home, I'll take the Eagles at home.
I do too, and I agree. I agree with you. I'm gonna have to jump on that bandwagon right after this.
450 right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to jump on it right after this.
That's my best play. What do you guys got? You got anything else for? I go pick up my kiddos. You got anything else? Anything else great for locks for this weekend? Before I get in for the line changes.
Well, I was just about to ask you if there's anything other than that Super Bowl special. Are there any games? Are there any player props? Anything that kind of has caught your attention at this point of the week?
Yeah, I like your guy. I bet you two, knowing your guys' patterns and what I've seen from you two, I guarantee you guys are already on this. Watch this. I'm gonna say it. I haven't talked to either of you guys. I promise you're on this right now. You're on Dallas Goedert overs.
Oh yeah.
Holy fuck!
You guys already on Dallas Goedert overs?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going on the FanDuel parlay. We've already got 2 legs in the FanDuel parlay. How did you know that?
Because I'll tell you why. Because I know a lot of times you look at tight ends. Obviously, you should be looking at tight ends. Yes. And when I looked at what TJ Hawkinjock did last week to the Giants, like what's going to happen? What's Dallas Goedert going to do? So that's one of the reasons. But I knew it.
Yeah, we're going in. Yeah. Yes, 2 of the legs. We got to get 2 more, but 2 of the legs in that one are going to be Goddard, alt 50. I think right now his line's 51. And then we're going to do Barkley receiving 25. Reason being is I think last week there's been a big, oh my God, these guys look good. You saw Isaiah Hodgins or Hodgins. Is it Hodgins?
Hodgins, yeah.
You got Darius Slayton had a couple bombs, whatever. Danny Dimes threw for 300. And everyone's kind of getting to this like, oh, maybe they can throw the ball. Listen, everybody knows this defense for the Vikings was fucking trash in the secondary. Now all of a sudden you got Slay. You got Bradbury. You got a good pass rush. Hassan Reddick might be the most underrated pass rusher in the NFL right now, and he drops back in coverage. Bro, they're going to be down. They're going to be trying to get quick passes out, maybe a screen, slow this pass rush down. And if that's not enough to get 25 receiving yards for Saquon in the quarter when they're down 10 points, they're going to be dumping it off to them, and we'll pick up some garbage one.
That's a good play. I'm going to add – so I'm already on the Goddard. We were thinking alike. I didn't think about the Saquon. I like that a lot. I am jumping on the Saquon. Also,
we
Danny
need 2
Dimes.
more.
How about
Danny Dimes? What?
Under rushing. Under rushing.
Yeah.
Look. So here's my take on that. This is one of my plays I have too.
We're
so
cooking. We're cooking right
now. Vikings play a ton of too high, like almost all too high. So that's why That's why Danny Dimes was rushing, because they were one light in the box already playing too high, and then you're going RPO with Saquon, and now they were outnumbering him. That's why he kept getting. That's why Danny Dimes kept getting big rush yards. They're not going to have that. The Eagles don't play too high all the time. They don't need to. They have 2 good corners, so they'll have the extra guy in the box.
Yes,
and their linebackers are faster. So faster linebackers don't need to play too high, so they have an extra man in the box. Danny Dimes is not going to get those same rushing numbers or attempts that he had last week. So yeah, I like Danny Dimes.
We got our 3rd leg.
Bingo.
I like
we got
that.
Our 3rd leg. I know you got to go. We'll converse later this week to get our 4th one. That'll be on the app. I went on Jay Onright show and I guaranteed it was joke guaranteed, so not actual guaranteed. But I said I'm not losing another parlay that goes on this show again. So this is one. We've got 3 of the 4 legs. Potentially, depending on what that gives us, I might just keep it there. Davis, appreciate your time, man, and I hope we're not making you late. And we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me, fellas. Thanks for having me. This is fun. Hope to do it again.
Yes,
all
sir.
Right, sounds good. So, Luke, one of the fascinating things I find that we didn't really get to mention with Davis there, for a Canadian kid, the there's a lot going against you other than just like your ability to play ball, and what I mean by that is I'm in a situation now where I'm like, I was actually on the phone today talking about a youngster from Canada, and right now it's even tougher because in Ontario they canceled 2 seasons of high school football due to COVID. Whereas you can imagine in the great state of Texas, I'm not sure they canceled one. So now all of a sudden you're already behind the 8 ball and you don't have 2 years of high school film, and you're sitting there and you're kind of stuck. And there's a crazy amount of people trying to get scholarships because I believe the 1 year that was canceled NCAA wise because of COVID also added you were allowed to come back for a 5th year or whatever. And that's across different sports. So it's a tough time to be a Canadian getting scouted, scholarships, whatever. But what's even tougher is a lot of these guys, like in Texas, I found this. And again, today it was a different state, but similar vibes, where I call this guy. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Again, trying to help a youngster out. He's like, the head coach, when they get in there, one of the big things they tell the AD, they go to the papers, they control the narrative, the media is like, hey, we're going to recruit Texas kids. We're a Texas college. We love Texas high school football. We want to recruit Texas kids. And now all of a sudden, it's like you get a kid from Canada that you might think is a little better than the Texas kid, but you're not sure because he doesn't have the film. And even if he does have the film, it's not, the same quality of football. You don't know where his mental headspace is compared to a Texas kid who's been getting treated like shit since he was 5 years old in the name of playing better football. Okay. And if you fuck it up, you got to go to the donors and be like, yeah, I passed on so-and-so's tight end.
Yeah.
Who's a notorious high school football coach who now doesn't give me any of his players for a Canadian kid who didn't work out. So it's like there's a lot of factors that go into being Canadian and getting a scholarship. And it's tough, but I thought that story by Davis was pretty cool. And he downplays it like, oh, I wasn't good. I wasn't this. For him to be able to go through all of that adversity and fucking do what he did in CFL, play a couple years in the NFL, it's very, very impressive to me.
Yeah, I mean, he won 3 Grey Cups, and like we said, the most impressive thing after was just rolling on to the poker scene, which I feel like that's a story that a lot of people could have. It's just like, yeah, I thought I could go play, I didn't want to have a job, so just going to go play professional poker. It's just like you get down there, and I would love to try it, but I feel like I'd go down there and have the exact same experience of I am not cut out to do this. So,
do you ever play poker with your buddies?
Yeah, we have the odd poker night here or there. Nothing crazy.
And how do those go?
You usually play 6 or 7 hands before guys start getting drunk or start eating, and then the night either goes that way or you get an actual night. I find with playing, there's playing with buddies, and then there's going to a poker night. There's 2 different
agreed
things like that.
I don't do it anymore, Luke. I don't. No. I ask because I think I've mentioned this before, but I have a horseshoe stuck up my ass. All right, I'm the guy who wins 50-50s. I've been very lucky at some casino. I'll bet very small odds on the roulette table and it'll hit. And everyone's like, how did you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm fucking lucky. There was a cartoon as a kid, Lucky Luke. I believe he was a cowboy, and that was my guy. Maybe Lucky Luke gave me some vibes. Maybe we're both Lucky Luke. Who knows?
Maybe.
But that being said, I started playing, and a couple of my friends, a couple of fellas, as we mentioned on here before, they're not pro poker guys, but they know the odds and they fucking or know some of the odds and they have a general idea how to play the game. I don't.
Yeah.
I go in there and I understand a 2-7 offsuit is the worst hand in poker.
Yeah.
But sometimes, especially if I'm ice cold, I'll be like, fuck, you know what? I'm going. And I fucking bet it. And now all of a sudden, the flop is a pair of 2s and a 7, and I'm sitting on a fucking full house. And then we all play it up, and an ace and a king comes, and I'll go all in, and then be like, oh, some guy's got fucking 1 ace, a pair of aces, and a pair of 2s. And we flip it over. And I won not because I'm good at poker, but because I'm lucky as fuck. And these dudes will fucking be irate at me. They'll be like, dude, that's not how you fucking play the game. This is bullshit. Like, fuck you for even doing that. And I'm like, what? Like, I had an intuition that this might get lucky. I'll probably get burned the odd time I don't. And now all of a sudden I'm a fucking prick. It's not a fun game. It's not a fun game when if you don't play by the exact rules everybody wants, now all of a sudden you're a piece of shit. That's why I don't play no more.
Sure, but if you and I were sitting at a blackjack table and I wasn't maybe playing the way that you like,
I would kill you.
There you go.
But that's because we're on the same fucking team. It's us against the dealer. So we have a thing. And when we're down in AZ, there's a couple casinos that I owe a beat down to. One of those casinos, the main one is the Cosmopolitan in Vegas. Now, the last time I went there, I did land a few jabs, but overall, I'm still down there, so I got to get it back big. But one of the biggest L's I've ever taken was in Arizona, is at a casino called Talking Sticks. But you'll love this. So me and the boys, whenever we're out, we're gambling, have a very strict set of rules at the blackjack table. Very strict. Yeah, but I feel like you'll appreciate these. So the fellas will go. Last time we had one of our good friends, his name is Mike Chanduz, who were at his bachelor party in Vegas. This was about a year ago, maybe a little less actually. And we commandeer an empty table. And the rule is we only celebrate table wins. So it doesn't matter if you're betting $100, $200, $5, whatever the table min is. Don't give a shit. If we have 7 guys at a table and one guy loses and you win, you accept your money and you just stone face, However, let's say dealer puts up 16, and we're all like, say, or 6 showing, I should say. Boom, boom, boom. 16 comes up, dealer busts. I'll usually yell out a basketball player's number. So, like, let's say it's 16 plus 7. Correct me if my math's wrong here. That's 23. So I'll start screaming, Michael Jordan before they flip it over. It's all about the theatrics for me. Boom, comes over. We're like, Michael Jordan. And we'll just go fuck. You would think we just won $35,000. The whole table's like, table win. Let's fucking go. And then we sit back down and we wait for table wins because it's not fun if we all don't win. I don't want to sit here and win, Belly, and see you lose. You're my guy. You're my fucking guy. I don't want to be happy if you're losing. Is that fair?
Yeah. No, that's totally. Casino nights with your boys can go south so quickly. It just takes guy getting. Oh man, it just takes one guy getting like cleaned out quickly, and then the vibes just get thrown off. And when you're a university baseball team that's in town just for the night, and like a couple guys are already out a couple $100, it's like, all right, fellas, let's go to the Burger King and maybe regroup. But
we might have to have an all-time casino night in Arizona.
I mean, it sounds like we gotta go. We gotta go punch.
How well versed are you in blackjack?
I'm versed.
So like, you're not going to split tens, correct?
No.
Thank God.
Split tens.
Like that to me, when people will be like, "Oh, dealer's got a 6-up. I've got 20." I'm like, listen, I love to gamble as much as the next guy, but when you have a win, you keep the win. You don't split the win up.
I will say the 6 dealers always seem to find a way to make sure the 6 gets home. That second card flips, it's a 4. There comes the 10. You're sitting there with a 19 against a 6, and all of a sudden you're dead. But no, the thing with me is I did the trips to Quebec in first year to go there when, with the legal age and all that stuff. So I made the mistakes when I was 18 years old at Casino de Montreal of splitting tens and all the unwritten rules of blackjack. I made all those mistakes when I was younger. So now at the old age of 25, I feel experienced enough to take on Arizona.
Oh, let's get it right.
Yeah, enough about us. We got to talk about the teams that are trying to get to Arizona. You want to talk some football briefly?
Let's talk some ball
on this football podcast. Let's just let's rip through the games. I want to get a pick from you, ATS, against the spread each game. So I'm going to pull up FanDuel Canada real quick. Jags Chiefs is the
That's
first
game
game on
one,
the
correct?
board here. Yes, I'm just pulling up the
Okay,
spread.
I'm just gonna. I believe it's 7.5. Does that sound right?
8.5 now.
8.5.
Jags Chiefs.
Okay, must have
Chiefs
moved up.
minus 8.5. Let's get your thoughts.
So this is what I'll say about this game. One, you got somewhat of a letdown spot from last week for the Jags. I mean, they're out here, crazy comeback, et cetera, et cetera. Hats off to them. Hats off for battling. Hats off for going at the half and figuring that shit out and coming out. I do have to place some of the blame on the Chargers. Just fucking talk about laying an egg in the second half. Absolutely god awful. But I think the Jags are good. However, I look at this situation and it brings me back. There's a couple years, specifically my second year, I remember we had the bye again. We were the 1 seed, and we had the Carolina Panthers coming to town. This is the Cam Newton times. Cam Newton next year was the MVP, I think, and went to the Super Bowl. Carolina was really good. And everyone was kind of like, we had a rocky start that year. Maybe didn't blow as many teams out as we had liked. But the one thing we kind of knew was how to do this thing. We knew how to win the playoffs. We had just done it the year before. We were very good at that. And I think we all knew what was on the line, so to speak. So what I'm saying by that is like, you sit there, even though, it's a rest week. It's not a bye week I'm talking now for the Chiefs. Not a bye week. You're at home. You had an extra week to prepare. Again, you're in the facility practicing. Andy Reid ain't letting those boys off. Maybe they took a couple of days off, but they're still in town. And everybody kind of knows, I'm assuming it's somewhat of a veteran locker room. Guys have been there for a while. Your police, like, listen, this is not the weekend to go fuck off and go to Vegas and get fucked up. Like, we have an opportunity here to change everybody's life. I mean, I think of me now, like at the time I didn't get it, but it's like my rookie year, we won a Super Bowl. Like, that stays with you forever. Like the rest of my life, I'm a quote unquote Super Bowl champ.
Yes, sir.
And it's kind of wild to think of it, but it's like they have a great opportunity to do it again. They've won one, the Chiefs have. Not everybody in that locker room, but some of the guys. They've lost one, so they know what it's like.
Yeah.
I really am playing on this factor that like Mahomes, Kelsey, they realize how fragile a situation is. They realize, when I say fragile, like they could easily get beat by anybody. This is the NFL now. You're in the playoffs. You had a week to prepare. I think they're going to come out salivating, chomping at the bit. They're at home in Arrowhead. Potentially the last game they play in Arrowhead this year. And I think they fucking roll the Jags. And that's not a shot at the Jags. It's not a shot at the Jags, bro. I think the Jags are good.
No, yeah.
I think they'll keep it somewhat close, but some point it'll be too much. And the next thing I'll say, and I'll end on this rant, is the Trevor Lawrence turnovers. If that happens, obviously not to the same degree as last week, but if one or two of them happen, this will not be the situation of the Chargers. They will take the fucking dagger. This is the Chiefs. Stab them in the heart with it and twist that bad boy around if they turn the ball over. And I'm assuming that the Jaguars will do it at least once. So I'm going to go 8.5's a lot, but I'm going to go Chiefs by 10.
Chiefs by 10. There you have it. Similar situation with the second game. They got both 1 seeds playing on the Saturday. NFC East battle. Eagles, Giants. I feel like the immediate thought for me was New York's going to keep this game close. New York's going to keep this game close. Third time seeing a divisional rival. But as the week's gone on, and, the status of Jalen Hurts' shoulder, take that for what it is. I could see Philly pulling away in the second half of this game. I think the Giants gave them a good shot early, but I think they benefited from a couple of things last week, playing the Vikings, playing on a turf field, having the bye week basically the week prior. They rested some starters. Now you have, playing playing the next week. It's on grass. It's against the Eagles. I think this could be an entertaining one, but I think the score late could look a little ugly for Giants fans. What do you think?
I think you just nailed it, Luke. It's one of those things where last week the Giants looked epic. And they're a good team. but this Eagles team is a great team. At least they have the ability to be great. They've had some moments where they've been inconsistent for sure. And we got to see how healthy Jalen Hurts is. But the way I look at it, I don't think that they opened up their full offense, their full game plan the second time they played, just because of the magnitude of the game. I mean, the Giants had nobody playing. The Eagles did, but again, I think they kept things pretty close to the vest. And you look at last week, and you sit there and you're like, wow, Danny Dimes, I think, threw for over 300, and Hodgins had a bunch of catches. Slayton had some catches. And these guys are good players, but they're also playing a banged-up, trash secondary in Minnesota.
Yeah.
That has not played. I shouldn't say trash. That's fucked up. I don't really love the coverage scheme Minnesota was doing. Trash statistically. They had some good players. But I sit here and I'm like, okay, the Eagles, on the other hand, have great players in secondary. They have good veterans in that locker room. A couple guys that are still there from the year they won it. Again, like to kind of police that locker room. Jalen Hurts can really answer a lot of questions this year. Like, can really put himself in the conversation of that. Is he up there with the best quarterbacks in the league? I would say he is. You know, before he got hurt, I think he was an MVP favorite. But this will really put that stamp on that. I just can't see the Giants walking in, being able to sling the ball around like they did last week. Not against this team. They have a lot of people who can get to the passer in Daniel Jones. Again, divisional game. They know each other. I think it'll be very, very, very physical. I think the Giants defense is understatingly or I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but they're very good. They're very understated. Is that fair? Is that what I'm trying to say right now, Luke? I don't know. They're
underestimated?
Healthy, underestimated, fair, whatever you want to say.
They're playing good ball.
They're playing good ball, and they got healthier. They got healthier DB, et cetera, et cetera. But I just think it'll be too much, dude. I think they'll come out again, home game in Philly in January. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. Their quarterback can scramble. Goddard's healthy. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. It'll be too much. They'll be able to put up 28 points, and I just don't think the Giants will be able to put up that kind of numbers against this defense.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I talk about him all the time. My old roommate, big Eagles fan, very sharp football mind. The guy who is convinced that throwing it at the 1 yard line was a good play. I still am gonna have to get you two chatting at some point. But so he's had me on the Eagles since way back. So I love this Eagles team. It feels like we've been waiting for this playoff run for a little while. I'm excited to see that get going. But we got to talk about the game that I think everyone's got circled. I mean, we got all 4 games circled, but this one's got the star next to it. Cincinnati Bengals, Buffalo Bills. Buffalo 5.5-point favorites. Sunday afternoon is a big one.
I'm not sure why the line is what it is. Like, why is the line -5.5 for the Buffalo Bills? Can you explain that to me?
The Bengals are pretty banged up. I think they're missing 3 linemen. 3 guys on the O-line.
I mean,
I think they got some injuries in the secondary. Like, they're pretty
against a very good run game team in Baltimore, and probably the worst matchup that they can have. Cincy and Baltimore. Baltimore really mucked that game up. 10-minute drive. J.K. Dobbins running wild. That ain't this offense now. That ain't this offense. And I'm telling you, I think Joe Burrow, they'll go quick game. They'll figure it out. Again, not having Von Miller is going to hurt them, especially with the banged up O-line. They've got a week now. You'll see a lot of the backs will be protecting. I bet you Hayden Hurst will be doing a lot of chip blocking. If they can protect Joe Burrow, look out. Again, and the other thing is the secondary for the Bills has been banged up all year. It's been banged up all year since the beginning days, you know? And I don't know the status of Micah Hyde. Is Micah Hyde back?
Yeah, I think they've gotten healthy at the right time as well. I think that's a unit that's on the right side of health right now.
I mean, and how about our guy Hayden Hurst? Like, dude, they protect Joe Burrow. You're telling me that this Buffalo team is going to stop Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Boyd and Hayden Hurst?
So it didn't look like that a couple weeks ago, right? A couple weeks ago, that Monday nighter, the Bengals were rolling early. They were moving it on that third drive of the game as well. This line it's a weird line. Is DeMar Hamlin going to be at the game?
I mean, maybe.
Right?
Maybe.
Are the Bills going to lose with him in attendance? There's been a lot of talk lately about the script writers.
Are the Bills going to turn the ball over 30 times?
Luke, be honest with me. This is the question I've been dying to ask you since the day I met you. When did you learn that the NFL was scripted? How did they break that news to you? Right? Was it when you got drafted? Was it like, how did they?
I do have somewhat of a conspiracy about the NFL. Sometimes when I was playing, I did find that if games got out of hand, the refs would try and get it closer.
Sure.
But I don't know if that's scripted or if that's human nature, man. Like,
but that's sports.
Team's down
that's
24.
Sports, Luke. I coach a U21 baseball team. When we get up big in games, the zone changes, right? Like that's sports. I don't think that's the NFL being rigged, but it's just been so much talk about the script and all that stuff lately. I've seen it all over social media. I don't know you must have heard stuff like that when you're in the league, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, it is fun, and I love a good conspiracy theory as much as the next guy, but there's no way, like, there's too many moving parts in a football game. Like, there's just too many moving parts. You can't script what's going to happen.
Well, shit. I remember the Seahawks Broncos Super Bowl. I remember there was a thing going around Twitter after that Peyton Manning was seen shaking the ref's hand in the tunnel after the game, and there was an exchange of money. And the Broncos had thrown that game. I was like, sure. Like,
that's not true, bro. We smacked them, bro. We smacked them. I knew I've told you this on the pod. We matched up very well against that team. The Super Bowl was played 2 weeks earlier. We matched up our defense matched up extremely well with what they were trying to do conceptually on offense. They were Peyton didn't have the arm strength he once had, right? He came back from injury. His mind was arguably the greatest mind of all time, and he was able to sit there and dice up teams mentally. Hey, this is what this team plays. We're going to motion this guy. Here's the matchup. Boom. This guy's open. Boom. Hit the guy. Uh-oh, boys. I got to plug my computer in. 1 sec.
Oh boy.
Bad ball here.
It's been a long afternoon.
Sorry about that. No, back to the Peyton thing. I'm like, the issue with playing our team at that time was that we just lined up in what is now called Seattle 3. There were no surprises.
Yeah.
And we had guys that could really fucking cover and were really smart. So it was like now all of a sudden, like I think I've told you this, but Big Ben diced this one time. I was like, holy shit, your guy Andrew Luck did. T.Y. Hilton exposed us on some shit. But the problem was like if you didn't have a guy who could really fucking sling it and basically like, yo, the window to throw this ball, you got to throw a heater. It ain't going to work. And they couldn't run the ball very well. I believe Noshawn was their guy. Noshawn Moreno, great NFL back. I'm not saying taking anything away from him, but their run game wasn't like dominant. So now all of a sudden it was like, you can't run. We're going to put a little pressure. We had a good pass rush, and we can cover our asses off. And we're not really putting our guys in vulnerable spots. And that's how you end up with only 8 fucking points in a couple. And I think we were +2 in the turnover margin, maybe more. Let's fucking go. And that's how you end up 43-8. Let's fucking go.
Noshawn Moreno, a funny quick story with Noshawn Moreno. My dad and I were watching a Broncos playoff game, and the camera pans over to him, and the announcer goes, and Noshawn Moreno at running back for the Denver Broncos today. And my dad looked over at me, like deadpan, and goes, "What happened to Sean Moreno?" I was like, "What do you mean?"
What a dad joke. That's all time. I love that.
Anytime I see that gif of Noshawn Moreno crying out, I just think of my dad turning and going, "What happened to Sean Moreno?"
I love that so much.
What a guy. Yes. And then so you're going Bengals +5.5 there, I assume. You
For sure.
like
For
them to
sure. For
keep it
sure.
tight, potentially win that
Oh,
game.
yeah.
That'd be
Josh
the upset
Allen,
of the week.
the Bills can win now, but Josh Allen going to have to do some crazy shit, which he
Yeah.
can do.
How likely is it that the Cowboys win that Sunday nighter?
This one has me in a blender. I'll tell you why, Luke. It has me in a blender because everything that I know about football tells me they have no shot. But the Dak Prescott performance last week was fucking special, bro. I don't think I've ever seen him cook like that. Like the week before, throwing pick sixes on balls behind a speed out to the field receiver. And then he comes in the playoffs 1 week later. 1 motherfucking week later against a defense that's not bad. I'm not saying they're the 85 Bears, but Tampa defense was not the issue this year. And oh my fucking God, was Dak cooking. He's extending plays with his feet. He's running for first downs. He runs for a TD. And I have it slinging the ball and distributing it everywhere. Schultz was getting in the action. Lamb's getting in the action. Michael Gallup got in the action. What's his face? Noah Brown had a couple catches. I'm like, bro, who is this man? So the reason I say that is going into it, I would have thought, okay, this front seven, very, very, very tough for the Niners. That's going to be the battle. Can this vaunted rushing attack for Dallas wear them down, et cetera, and maybe get some plays in the second half? Or is Dak going to have to sling the ball, which I did not like that idea. And now all of a sudden it's like, dude, maybe Dak can really sling it like that. I mean, he looked fucking good last week. And on the other side of the ball, I know you're going to be upset with me for saying this. Brock Purdy was a bit Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde last week. He played very, very poor football in the first half. He missed a lot of throws. He looked a little jittery, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know and I don't think Seattle was really confusing him. I think he just missed some guys. And it's like, I think there was a lot of knocks on Seattle's defense this year. They were not very good. I'll tell you what Seattle's defense definitely did not have. Micah Parsons. So that's my question. Are we going to see first half Brock or second half Brock? And does Micah Parsons just pin the ears back and get to Brock and smash him early and see how he handles that? So there's a lot. This one to me, there's the most questions about. But if Brock Purdy just manages this game and Dak Prescott doesn't play, he can play good. He's got to play fucking phenomenal again. I think the Niners win. But again, if Purdy is so-so and Dak Prescott turns into Patrick Mahomes like he did last week, now all of a sudden we got a fucking tight one on our hands. Is that a fair assessment? You agree or disagree with me, Luke?
I agree.
Man, I can tell.
To
you don't like
a degree. I think the Bucs were bad. I think
Fair.
the Bucs were like a bad football team, and I think the Cowboys just shit kicked a bad football team. Purdy is what gives me pause when it comes to the Niners. Their defense is as legit as legit gets, in my opinion. I know you tend to give me some pushback on that, but you could have talked about running back being a position that they needed to upgrade. They went and got Christian McCaffrey. They got Debo back. They got Ayuk. They got Kittle. Purdy missed some throws in that Seahawks game early, and you talk about it. We talk about it. Burying teams, putting teams away, right? The Chargers didn't do it. They got burned. The Niners didn't do it. The Niners had a chance to put Seattle away super early and end that game. You get away with that against Seattle. You're probably not getting away with that against the Cowboys. That being said, I want to see Dak repeat that against this Niners defense, right? Against Nick Bosa, against one of the best units in the league, right? In my opinion.
Agreed. Here's the next thing I will say, though, Luke. This is why it's probably – I know everyone can't wait for the Bills-Bengals, but as a football – let's call myself like a guy who enjoys like minute details of football.
Yeah.
This is the game I'm most looking forward to watching because for anybody who loves linemen and lineman play, you've got an incredible D-line with some very, very talented players in the Niners going up against an offensive line that is fucking stout in Dallas. And I wonder, like, is Kellen Moore the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys? Like, what is his thought process? The Seahawks did have some success last week through the air, and they don't protect as well as Dallas can protect. That's just a fact, okay? But now I look at it and I'm like, is there any chance Kellen Moore says, fuck it? We're coming into this game. We're putting Zeke and Tony Pollard, and we're trying to get them both 16, 17 carries and trying to just haymaker for a haymaker and punch this defense in the mouth. I don't know. Like, I don't know what he's going to do, but they have options because that offensive line and that run game is very, very fucking good. That'll be a very fun matchup for me to see. Like, who gets the better of that?
On the other side of the ball, so you mentioned Micah Parsons, right? What can the Niners do to game plan around that?
How we're going to plan for, like, to me, Micah Parsons is you've got Kittle. And what I mean by this is, like, George is a guy that is so unique because he can really do everything the position asks. There's very few tight ends that can do this. There's more your receiving tight ends that do a little bit of blocking, and then there's your complete blocking tight ends that are glorified linemen. But you've seen Kittle, like, really handle dudes like this. So what I'm saying is now all of a sudden, and Juszczyk will be involved in this as well, but it's like if Micah Parsons, if they decide, like, yo, this guy's a huge factor, which I'm sure they will, I could see a lot like, yo, Kittle, you're going to not even chip, like, yo, we're going to motion you over. We're going to try some run game stuff where you're going to be really just fucking get on them, pester them, get after them. Boom, we might have you and Juszczyk. Like, this makes sense. It's a little bit of ball talk, hashtag ball talk. But we're going to run wide zone with a fullback coming underneath. So you can really let your helmet out on Micah. And if he slides underneath, he's got fullback Kyle Juszczyk ready to fucking rumble. Like, they'll probably fuck with him a lot in the run game, have those two guys just attacking him at different angles, just so that Micah's looking around like, holy fuck, where am I getting hit from? What is this run game play? That split second to make sure he's getting fucking slapped now might slow down the pass rush a little bit. And then as a pass rush goes, it would not surprise me again if it's like, yo, we're chipping them, we're keeping the tight end in, or it's third and long. Instead of having McCaffrey in the backfield on third and long, you might see Kyle Juszczyk in some third and longs. Maybe McCaffrey's in the slot. I'm not saying he's not on the field, but it's like, why will Juszczyk as a fullback? Maybe we're just going to send him to Micah's side. Boom. Or if they're not blitzing, be like, hey, you're not getting out. You're going to help clean up Micah. Like, there's a lot of things you can potentially do to try and slow down Micah Parsons, which I think Kyle Shanahan will have a pretty good grasp on this week.
Okay, so George Kittle, let me try to rope you into something here. George Kittle's over under on FanDuel Sportsbook Canada set at 46.5 this week. Is there any chance I could interest you in that under?
Yes, big time, 100%.
He's gone under that number in 3 straight.
Yes,
which is odd because he's kind of he's getting the usage down by the red zone. It seems like Purdy's looking his way there. He's got 2, 4, 5, 7 touchdowns in his last 5 games, but not a ton of yards.
But again, to me, it would not surprise me. Is still catching the ball, but his main role is to really split between catching the ball, how he is in the game.
There you are. You want to thread
Micah Parsons?
Oh, whoa! What just happened to your internet? I almost feel like his computer died.
No, am I gone?
You're no, yeah, here you are. But your internet
back?
Is that my internet or your internet?
No, it's mine. I can see it. It's definitely mine.
Yeah. So I think I might play this week. I'm just taking a look at this. George Kittle under 46.5 receiving yards. George Kittle touchdown. Basically 5-1. I might play that. I could see Kittle having 4 or 5 catches for 37 yards and a tud. I wouldn't hate that. So let's just recap this real quick. I want to go through. So Chiefs, you got the Chiefs minus 8.5, yeah? Over
Yep.
the Jags. Eagles minus 7.5 against the Giants.
Yep.
Bengals plus 5.5 against the Bills.
Yep.
And Sunday night,
Niners minus 3.5.
Niners.
That's the line,
minus
right?
3.5. Yes, sir. A little $10 parlay there would pay $116. 11-1. All four.
Fuck. I don't know. That last one was very tough. Very tough for me.
What you could do, and what I always try to do with parlays like these, is you throw the Niners money line on as the last leg.
Yeah.
So it makes it 9-1. And then when it gets to Sunday night, you can go the other way with the Cowboys plus 3.5. And then if the Cowboys lose that game but cover, you win both. Look at this guy scrolling through TikTok.
No, I don't go on TikTok. I was looking at something. I'm with you on that, but I'm not going to lie. I've got to bet with Team Luke Bryan this week, no matter what happens. I'm betting no matter what I just said. I'm going to do a 4-leg parlay of whatever the 2 picks we have, and I'm going to do the opposite of Al's brothers.
That's happening on Friday, I assume.
That happens tomorrow at 6:05 Eastern time. Friday, yes.
6:05 Eastern. TSN 1050. You have to tune in for all the picks. So this will be good when Hayes likes the Jags. You're big. Oh, dude, I love the Jags.
We're usually on the same page. That's why. Can I be honest with you, dude? Last week was the most fucking nervous I've ever been watching games, and I really I want us to win our parlays, but the overdrive shit. I'm like, fuck, bro. I mean, just because of the whole thing, and it was joking, but like me getting kicked off the team, and then me and Hayes were 9-1, as you know, won the regular season, and now the playoffs resets. And we start, and I went with all 3 underdogs. I went Seahawks to cover. This is spread. Seahawks to cover, Giants to cover, and Ravens to cover. And Hayes hit me with, listen, man, I trust you, but I'm not going to lie. I was leaning the other way on all 3 of these. And I'm like, fuck. So then at halftime, I'm fucking chilling, bro. I'm like, bro, Seahawks up 1. We got 10.5 points to spare because the line was 9.5. I'm like, fuck, I'm in good shape. I'm like, we're going to get some bullshit turnover soon. Everything's going to be chilling. We all know how that half ended. Al's brother picks the Jags. It's 27-0. I'm like, bro, we're good. We all know how that one ended. So now I go into the Sunday, and I'm like, dude, I've got the Giants on the road, and the line is 2.5, I think, or maybe it was 3. It was 3.
Yeah,
and then I got the Ravens on the road. No Lamar Jackson, obviously. Okay, and that line was 7, 8.5, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was 8.5.
And I'm like, holy shit, dude! Like, I'm gonna get kicked off Hayes' team too. And then all of a sudden, both dogs covered, and I was talking shitty. I was on Twitter talking shit, bro.
Oh, and I assume you'll be running your mouth all weekend too. With it's good stuff. It's fun. It's fun to follow.
Yeah, it is fun.
You guys do good with that stuff. So
we're both 2-1. So the problem is now, like in the regular season, you have a bad week. We each pick. I think there are 5 picks per weekend. So like we would pick 3 one weekend, they would pick 2, and then we'd flip them. So it's like, okay, you lose or you have a bad weekend, and it's like you're good, because there's 18 weeks of the season. I'm like, shit, dude, this playoffs. I mean, you think of it,
7 games left.
God forbid. I mean, not God forbid. We'll go 2-0, and they'll go 0-2 this week. And now all of a sudden we're up 2, and there's only 3 total games left. That's big time. That'd be a big swing.
It's a big swing. It's a big weekend.
Yeah.
It's a huge weekend.
So.
The divisional round. I was just about to say it doesn't get much bigger than this, but it will get slightly bigger next week, and then even bigger a couple weeks after that.
Yeah.
So, but
Spreads are tough, though, man. A wise man once told me you don't get rich betting spreads.
No,
His name was
you
Luke
definitely
Bellis.
don't. Week 3, Colts Chiefs. What a game! That game was a sweat. You good? You got anything else
Great.
you wanna talk
I
about?
think that's good. I mean, I think Alec has got a tough one in this one because we're all over the map. There's bum fights, there's everything, but
Yep.
it is what it is. I think it's a good pod.
I think it's another pod in the books. Shout out to Davis Sanchez.
Yeah,
Giving
that
us
was a
some
fun
of his
interview.
time this afternoon. That was a fun interview. We're gonna have to get him back on in the offseason to talk a little bit more about some of the time he spent in the CFL. Davis is also a big he's a big live bettor.
Yeah.
Big with all that stuff. So and he's sharp. I mean, I watch games with him and he picks up on stuff. So we'll have to get him back on just to talk a little bit more about that. And I will be back next episode to recap all the games. Until then, see ya.